South Africa business must be at the forefront of the transformation of African industry. This is President Cyril Ramaphosa's message to the nation, contained in his weekly letter today. This is ahead of his scheduled attendance this week of the Africa CEO Forum in the Ivorian capital, Abidjan, where South Africa is showcasing its potential as a premier investment and trade destination. Ramaphosa says the upheavals in the global economy present an opportunity for strategic, Africa-focused trade and investment policy, with government committed to providing the necessary supportive policy and regulatory frameworks to assist business to thrive across borders. Well, the Department of International Relations and Cooperation says there is no basis to identify the group of white Afrikaners resettling in the United States as refugees. This is the first group of white Afrikaners set to arrive in the US today. This follows the Trump administration's decision to grant them refugee status. They departed OR Tambo International Airport in Johannesburg yesterday. The department spokesperson, Crispin Piri, says while everyone has the right to leave the country, they should not do so under false pretenses. Well, for more now on the story, we cross to SABC News correspondent Nick Harper in Washington. Good afternoon, Nick, and thank you for joining us. What has the general feeling been in the United States about these Afrikaans South Africans coming to America?
Good afternoon. Well, from the Republican side of things within Donald Trump's party, there has certainly been support, and yet also, I would say, some confusion as well. This is something that Donald Trump has offered to white South Africans because he says they are being racially discriminated against by South Africa's government. And therefore, he has opened this possibility to seek asylum here in the United States and put them on a path to US citizenship. Now, he's doing that in a fast-track way, while at the same time halting other refugee programs here in the United States for other countries around the world, including Afghanistan, Iraq, various sub-Saharan African countries, even Congolese refugees who are hoping to come here to the United States. They are not able to, but the white South Africans are. And Donald Trump is very much trying to spin this as a win. We are likely to see celebrations here later on today when they arrive. Certainly a great deal of fanfare because there will be State Department officials welcoming them when they arrive at Dulles Airport in Virginia, just outside of Washington, D.C. Now, that's not usual. You wouldn't normally have State Department officials welcoming refugees when they enter here into the United States. But Donald Trump is using this as an opportunity really to show that he is here, that he is able to offer asylum, and he feels that by opening the door to these white South African, he's showing that he is a man of the people, ready to stand by anyone that he feels is racially persecuted. Of course, South Africa's government has denied that there is any persecution going on, even though Donald Trump is being very keen to underline that he feels that he is offering a significant benefit to the Afrikaners.
Nick, tell us what happens when they get there. Where will they go to? Where will they stay? Is America offering them something more than just refugee status in terms of a home or setting them up perhaps financially?
Well, it's a combination of things. Initially, there will be temporary housing available for them. What's unclear is exactly where that will be, because there is also a suggestion that they will be sent on to the US state of Texas. Now, what we've seen in the past, for example, during the US withdrawal from Afghanistan back in the summer of 2021, we had Afghan refugees arriving at the airport, at Dulles Airport, and they were housed temporarily in and around that northern Virginia area before they were sent on elsewhere. The US says that it will be providing that housing for them initially. It will be sending them on to Texas, and they will have the ability to claim benefits here in the United States. But there is also a desire that they integrate with the American population, that they find a house for themselves, they find work for themselves, that they really integrate with the community. But there will be that possibility as well, as a refugee with refugee status, to get on the path to citizenship. So at some point further down the line, and it certainly wouldn't happen immediately, they would have the ability, if they so chose, to become a US citizen.
And Nick, I just want to know from you, when you talk about the benefits that they will be getting in the United States, what are some of those benefits?
Well, it really depends on the state that you are in, but it is the ability to claim the biggest thing, unemployment benefits. So if you are living and working in an area but you're unable to find a job, you have the ability to petition the US government and claim out of work benefits. It's something that is given to other people who live here in the United States. And it is something that they would be able to claim. If they are being given temporary housing by the US government as well, that is essentially another form of benefit that they would be getting in the form of housing. So some financial benefits, but also some lodging benefits as well. And all of that would happen straight away when they arrive here in the United States.
This might sound like a strange question, but I'm wondering what sort of protection could or would they get in the United States? There's so much interest on these 49 South Africans. Is there going to be any protection against people giving them a hard time about coming to the United States? Perhaps South Africa interfering with them when they're in the United States and all they want to do is get on with their lives?
Well, they wouldn't be provided a security detail. That is very unlikely to happen. There wouldn't be, I wouldn't have thought, extra policing given to them. When they arrive here in the United States, they would be treated in the same way that any other refugee is treated. They would be offered help, they would be offered support, they would be pointed in the right direction in terms of the government agencies that they can speak to claim support, to claim unemployment benefits. But they're very unlikely to be provided with a security detail. There isn't really a suggestion at this stage that they would be unwelcome here in the United States. However, we have, of course, seen ill feeling towards refugee populations in the past throughout the United States. And we have this situation here in the US where Donald Trump won last year's election, really running on an immigration campaign and is now very much engaged in mass deportations, trying to send people who've arrived here illegally out of the United States. Now, of course, these white South Africans, they are arriving here legally and with the blessing of the US government. So it puts them in a slightly different bracket, and their arrival and the way that they are received, their welcome here, is unlikely to be received in a negative way, as we have perhaps seen in the past with others.
Thank you very much. That was Nick Harper, SABC News correspondent, chatting to us in New York.